Yep, Independence is a vibe. I'm Travis.
And I'm Chris.
Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and share this video.
And don't forget to catch us on Instagram and on YouTube at Independence is a Vibe, because you know that it is.
Yes, sir.
And so as always, y'all know we got some type of topic for you. So this one is a little bit different. And it differs in this way. We're going to talk about what we've learned in the years we've done this podcast. So I'll start, right? First thing I learned is that inspiration can come from anywhere.
Yeah.
Because a lot of the topics we pick is, it's all based off our personal experience. But some stuff we talked about, like, we might have experienced it that day, that week, Mm-hmm. And then sometimes we talked about stuff we experienced, and this was when we was kids.
Right.
So, the inspirational library is very vast. It's expansive, you know what I'm saying? So, like I said, the first thing I learned is that inspiration for topics could come from anywhere. Another thing I learned doing this podcast is, like, it's a lot of podcasters out here, so networking should be really, really easy. That's a big tip. Networking is always good.
Yeah, networking is the the key.
Right. But also too, you got to kind of flow in your lane. You know what I'm saying? If that make any sense. Mm-hmm. You can't be networking with everybody because y'all not trying to go the same route.
Right.
Another thing I learned is that technology will fail on you when you're not expecting it to.
That's yeah. Technology will fail. You be like, man, I'm getting ready to set these mics up, and the mic said, nah, I ain't working today.
For real. Mike, like, you need a vacation.
Right.
I'm like, but you a machine. Machines don't take breaks. How you...
I worked last week, so I'm taking it.
This ain't shift work, my boy. You can't clock out when you want to.
I'm off this week.
Because we have wireless mics. They would not work for nothing.
Right.
And I charged them today. So they should be good, but obviously not.
Yeah, that brings me to my point. Patience.
Yeah.
I've learned a lot of patience with having, this podcast because, it takes time to build. Mm-hmm. So, even though you want it to happen overnight, but building a brand takes time. So.
Most definitely. It's going to take a couple of nights.
Yeah.
And just kind of piggyback it off of what Travis said, like he said about the patience, man. That's one of the biggest things you can have with any business. Mm-hmm. Because, like, with podcasting, you do have to have a litany of topics. You got to have a plethora of topics because you could have a category that you're in, but you got to be able to have that category at different angles.
Yeah.
So you got to have topics. Also, I think, like, you got to have some versatility too.
Yeah.
You got to be able to switch things up every now and then. Because stuff can get monotonous and it can get boring. But yeah. I kind of like the setup we have because it's kind of like a little talk show. And we just kind of, giving y'all little nuggets we done learned from our personal experience. I mean, it can't get no better than that.
Yeah, unscripted. So I think that's the best way to do it is unscripted because you ain't really, we don't practice nothing when we start.
Right.
We just turn the camera on and just go for it.
Right. Sometimes that's the best way to do it.
Yeah. You just having a conversation. That's all it is.
Right. That's literally what started us to having a podcast. Yeah. We were just sitting outside talking. It's like, you know what? But I've talked to several people who have, like, podcasts, but their podcast is not big where they want it to be at. Mm-hmm. And a lot of them have started podcasts and YouTube channels that same way.
Yeah.
They was outside with their friends talking, and it was just like, we ought to put this on camera. We ought to, do this.
Plus, I feel like it feels good to be in a market where, it's not really that many disability or disabled podcasters,
Mm-hmm.
So, I like that,
Yeah. Another thing that I learned doing this podcast is, like, you either got to be really on point with marketing or you have a team that handle your marketing for you. Mm-hmm. Because your podcast could be good, but it could get buried under so much podcast stuff that nobody really ever sees it.
Right.
Now it's all, work in progress. You gonna learn as you go.
Yeah, you. I mean, I ain't know anything about podcasting when we got into this.
I didn't either. It was just
besides what I saw, like the, like the basic stuff, but I didn't really know how to. I guess like do it or whatever.
Yeah. And see, that's another tip too, right? Nothing is ever as it seems. Because I looked at a lot of people podcasts like on YouTube. I sat down and listened to people's podcasts before we started doing podcasts, and the behind the scenes work is so much.
Yeah.
Especially if you don't have a team that's helping you with stuff. If it's just you, right? Think about it. You gotta pick topics. You might have to do a little bit of research on the topics. You have to record the videos. You gotta edit the videos. You gotta come up with a marketing strategy to market each individual video to get traffic to the podcast as a whole. It's a lot.
Yeah, but I feel like hard work pays off eventually.
Yep, that's why the thing you said, patience. That's when that kicks in.
Yeah.
Cause the paychecks ain't starting rolling in because we cut the camera on. I wish it was that easy.
That would be nice.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying. It ain't rolling in. No sponsors yet.
But I mean, hard work pays off. You know what I'm saying.
Also consistency.
Yeah.
That pays off.
Yeah.
And marketing and consistency go hand in hand. If you can't be consistent with marketing, your business might not fly. So, again, we've been doing podcasting for about 4 years now?
About 4 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we've learned a lot. We've made adjustments, whether you can tell in that. If you've been rocking with us a while, yeah, we have repurposed some of the content, trying to find new topics all the time. It's kind of exhausting.
It's that pivot, man.
Yeah, Coach Carter out here. But yeah, it's it could be a battle sometimes trying not to. Oh, but didn't we talk about this 4 months ago, 2 years ago? But sometimes.
Part 2.
Yeah, you gonna talk about the same thing just a different way.
Right.
So, you gotta be versatile. You gotta be patient. You know what I'm saying? Don't be afraid to learn from somebody else. And I mean, to me, podcasting is fun. I got into it because I get to spend a little more time with my friend and we just talk about our lives. I mean, it couldn't get much more simpler than that.
Yeah, I mean, it's basically like catching up, also reminiscing, also learning new things.
Yeah, and having a good laugh along the way.
Right.
Because, I mean, like, off camera, we didn't laugh so much that we was almost crying. And even sometimes we laugh on camera. I know I do. Because there's plenty of clips where I had to do some editing because I was laughing too much. So, I mean, But I think also, too, like, podcasting, whether you're doing it like the audio format or the video format like what we do, I think it helps you with your confidence, too. Yeah. And the reason why I say that is because if you do the video format like what we doing right now, it's you on the camera that you're looking back at.
Yeah, I had to get used to being on camera because I wasn't used to that.
Yeah, see, being on camera don't bother me. Now I'm not a person that's been on camera a lot. It just don't bother me. Right. But it's the same thing when you like an audio clip and it's your voice on there that you're hearing. You may not like your voice. You know what I'm saying? That's very possible.
Yeah.
But the more you do it and the more you hear yourself saying like, man, yeah, you know what? I did that. And then you get to a point where you don't think that you're so horrible. So I really think that podcasting can help, with your confidence. I also think that, like, building a podcast, depending on how bad you want it, right? It's going to force you to think outside the box. And sometimes you need that in your life. You need...
Get out that comfort zone.
Yeah, something that's going to force you to...
Yeah.
You've always done things this way, but in order to get to this point, you're going to have to switch it up.
That's what this did for me. Being on camera.
Right. So I mean, yeah.
And talking on camera.
Yeah. Because even though it's me and Travis in my house, we're not in front of a live audience. But one day we might be. But this recording, even though we do some editing to it and things like that, and then we put it out, it's still us being vulnerable on camera.
So it's basically a stepping stone to the next level.
Right. Because we hoping to, catch the attention of, like, companies that have a lot to do with Baton Rouge and different parts of the United States being more accessible to people that's disabled.
Well, we will catch the attention.
Yes, sir. I do apologize. Yes, sir. So, yeah.
Yeah, man. Also, never give up.
Right.
Even though it seems like the numbers ain't really where you want them to be at.
Taking a break is not quitting.
Right.
Quitting is quitting.
You just never know when you might get your big hit.
Right. Yeah.
Or your big break, whatever they call it.
Yeah. Because there's been plenty of times I'm looking at the numbers and it's like, man, it's been months and the numbers ain't moved. And then all of a sudden I get a comment from somebody that's random out the blue.
Yeah.
And they just like, hey, I watched this episode and y'all really spoke to me, man. And it's like, okay, but where the rest of the people like that? Like, we need about 2,000 more of y'all to pop up like that. You know what I'm saying?
You reach one person, you know what I'm saying? You got something.
Yeah. Each one can reach one.
Right.
Yeah. So, yeah.
Yeah, y'all drop some comments and let us know, if, what have you started that, you were, I guess, uncomfortable with doing or...
Right, that you got better at as time went on.
Yeah.
Or what is something that you started doing and you felt like stuff wasn't going right. Mm-hmm. So you took it apart, you dismantled it, but now you're kind of thinking like, I want to pick it back up.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? There's nothing wrong with that.
That's it. As long as you don't give up.
Because you're not starting from zero the next time you start.
From experience next time.
Right.
But yeah, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and share this video.
And don't forget to catch us on Instagram and on YouTube at Independence is a Vibe. And we'll be back next week with another video.
Stay tuned.
And we out.
Peace.